Yeah, thank you for staying with us on the conversation. Our conversation this morning is going to dwell on 2027 elections, early campaigns, and good governance. Lately, we have seen some kind of subtle campaigns on the part of different political parties that we have in the country, even though 2027 is still far ahead. But then the reasoning of an average Nigerian is quite different from that of the political class. It's like 2025 is 2027 to them. Of course, some of these actions are contrary to Section 941 of the Electoral Act, which states that a campaign must not start until about 150 days to another election. So we'll be looking at this together with our colleague in the industry, Diola Yusuf is a journalist as well. It's our pleasure to have you.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Sometimes I wonder what the thinking of an average politician is in this country. We're still in 2025, and yet the political class are already preparing for 2027, which is still far away by my own reasoning. So what do you think is responsible for this disconnect between governance and politics, that they cannot really concentrate on the vote of the people which gave them the mandate to run the country for the next 4 years? Now they are so busy campaigning for 2027 when they are yet to deliver on some of their promises.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me start by using the word of Mao Zedong. That is the famous political scientist who said politics is war without bloodshed. Why war is politics with bloodshed? So what that tells you is that those that are in that trade understand that game. And you will see clearly that it cuts across all the political parties. So that's to tell you that you can't pinpoint anyone. It's not about political party issue. It's about individual politicians issue. And the question you asked, that the cause of that, I think number one, it will be because of the fact that there has never been sincere sanction, for that. If people have been doing things and they have been, going scot-free over it, everyone will key in and start doing that. You have quoted a section of the Constitution that states clearly that there is a time frame for everything as far as politics is concerned. And in a bit to even add to that, there was a story, I read where INEC was saying that, there was no clear-cut punishment prescribed by that section for them. Maybe that is one way of trying to say that is why our hands are tied. But fact remains that even if we are not looking at it from, the politician, the INEC's point of view, it's important that we look at it from the governance point of view. You raise that issue, which is very, very critical. People are just 2 years into 4-year tenure. They are already envisaging. Number one, it will show clearly that aside from the fact that they may not be taking governance so seriously, there's another thing that, they don't have the fear of God. I think whosoever has the fear of God, you will not even be sure of what will happen to you in the next 1 hour. Not to now talk of,
2027.
Talking of what will happen in 2027. But head and tail, I think from what INEC has said, it's important that, a review is done into that section of the Constitution. Let there be, it's not only to say that they shouldn't do this until so time. Let there be a sanction, an appropriate sanction to whoever is doing it. And at that stage, it will now, ensure that whoever violates that rule is properly sanctioned. But politicians, I know they will be watching this, station. Please concentrate first on the mandate you are being given to deliver to the people. I had to park my car when I was driving because of traffic, flash flood, bad roads in some areas, and so on and so forth. There is a lot of work for them to do. So they should just concentrate on that. And there's nothing bad in having that aspiration to want to go ahead, but they should know that, man will propose, God will definitely dispose.
I like how you've started this, Angela, and of course we always bring the God factor into these conversations because, again, we do not own our lives. But again, when we backtrack, because you also mentioned that because it could also be because there haven't been clear-cut punishment for those who have violated these issues. Let's look at the facts that perhaps, like INEC has said, insinuations, our hands may be tied. But let's also start from the political parties themselves. If there are internal mechanisms from the political parties themselves, and then they also have disciplinary measures and say that, okay, as a party, we do not want to do this, or we want to wait until a certain period before we also join in such issues. Should we also begin to hold the political parties responsible as much as, saying that there should also be house rules that you can't start campaigning until such a period, and if you do, you are our own member, we can discipline you even before INEC does. Is it possible we start looking in that direction?
Okay, thank you very much. It's very, very key that there is no way we talk about this, the whole of this issue, without mentioning political parties. But I think it's very right to be so discerning in the way we talk about political party this time around, for two reasons. Okay. Number one, those people that are already talking about votes for 2027 are yet to get the ticket from the political party. Right. Okay, so in that case, we will not say that political parties should be blamed, or we want to, when we are apportioning blames, we will go to, but there is no way political parties would not be a part to solution, for this issue. Right. Of course, political parties should. There's nothing wrong in them saying that whosoever violates certain rules will not get our ticket. That is one. But I think they will face another challenge, because the cross-carpeting in Nigerian politics is one issue that someone can, while you are sleeping, someone can be in party A, and by the time you are waking up, you are just having a nap. By the time you are waking up, the person is in party B. So with that, it may be somewhat, tough. But anyhow, there is no way we want to talk about this thing if you want a solution to it without getting political parties, involved or on board in ensuring that this. And I tell you, it's so important that we talk about this issue and get a solution to it, because it will keep affecting the real governance. Right. People will not settle before they start aspiring for another one. There is a lot of work to do. Nigerians need a lot of them. During the rainy season, I think the rainy season exposes most times, how far politicians have gone, whether in terms of road, whether in terms of healthcare, because you will see some ailments increasing during the rainy season. So there is a lot of work. We are in that rainy season. There are a lot of work for them to do. There will be erosion, there will be this and that during the rainy season. So there's a lot of work to do. They are just 2 years into the work that we have elected them earlier to do. So if you keep quiet, not talking about this issue, it will definitely affect governance, because if all they want to start concentrating on is how to get elected in 2027, while we are just in 2025, it means they won't be able to face what we've elected them to face.
Okay, is this an affirmation that we really do not have any political party in Nigeria with any clear-cut ideology, because all of them are guilty of this particular crime, and maybe they will need some schooling as to how to separate governance from politics so that they will deliver on their mandate at the end of the day?
Okay, thank you very much. You have asked a very, very critical question that is very tricky as well. Okay, so I will, because of the, humble understanding I have of political parties and politics globally, I will not say that that is so peculiar to Nigerian politician or Nigerian politics alone. We were all witnesses to what happened in the United States during, President Trump campaign and all that. We saw for ourselves the fact that politicians are politicians, whether they are in Nigeria, whether they are in Nigeria, whether they are in USA, whether they are in China or whatsoever, anywhere they are, politicians. And that will still allude to the fact that, to the sayings of Mao Tse-tung, who said, like I said earlier, politics is war without bloodshed. You are getting into it. You just want to make sure that you clear everything on your way to get there. And war is politics with bloodshed. So they are seeing it. So it's to just say that it's everywhere. The only difference is that when you commit certain crime elsewhere, people will not keep quiet. In fact, people will not say this person is a member of a political party. They will have to shout. let's cast our minds to, though it's not policy, but there's no way we will untie it from, politics. What happened to Charlie Kirk and the 22-year-old that killed the guy? Remember, that is the father of this, accused that gave him in. Right. So that tells you why it is working elsewhere. But fact remains that, whether it's painted red, whether it's painted yellow, whether it's wool is wool anywhere where you find it. Politicians are politicians anywhere we find them. So, and there is nothing wrong in Nigeria trying to institutionalize a lot of things too. She asked a question about political parties, coming on board to stamp their feet and do things the right way.
Isn't that where the ideology should come in if you have one?
Yes, that is where you will go to Google now, or of course Google or any of the search engine, and search for the policy direction or vision mission of PDP APC. You see them there. In fact, I remember I was at a program in Victoria Land some years back where former Governor Fayemi was speaking about the policy or direction of APC. So that is to tell you that it's not that when you check it on paper, you won't find them. In fact, you find them in beautiful and flowery English. But fact remains that people that are supposed to implement and execute this are the people that are not doing what they are supposed to do. And it's important that we call on everybody, because whether we like it or not, it is still falling back on every one of us. And please permit me to, power elogies on the management of, LTV for bringing this on board. Of course, other people may be saying, why are we talking about what they are doing ahead of 2027? If you keep quiet, they will be emboldened in doing that is so wrong.
So, part of what some will say would be that we want to get, we want to start catching the minds of our voters early enough. We want to get into we want to get their perception. We want to be able to sway their votes when the time comes. Do you agree with this? Because we've recognized here now that early campaign is a disservice, whether we like it or not, because it is derailing governance, and that is why they were elected. So, but for those that will say, well, we're doing it because we want to catch our voters, or those that will vote for us early enough. And are we beginning to see this as a norm or a political culture that is gradually being embedded in our political space in Nigeria? So 2 questions tied in one.
Okay. Let me start with the first one. Whether catching them young, quote and unquote, approach is right, whether it's not right. Of course, in politics, there is nothing anyone would do that they cannot be termed as getting the support or getting voters closer to you, or getting voters far away from you. Okay. There is nothing. Even if the roads that you were voted to put in place, rehabilitate and all that, even if you do that, some people want to naturally, some people naturally, want to support you because you are doing that which you are supposed to do. So that is established. There is no way, it can be termed, whatever action that they take can be termed as trying to canvass vote or trying to get favors from voters. But coming out publicly to now canvass that vote is what is wrong. Okay. Of course, and we need to, if you go to the first extreme, let's talk about the second extreme. Even if they go out to campaign, dollar money and all that, some people that will not vote will still not vote. Sure. But right thing that is supposed to do should be done. They should not come out, according to the Nigerian law, it's wrong for them to come out, to canvass votes until the time to canvass votes, is here. So it is wrong for whatever, means they want to use. So they cannot. Elsewhere, what they will do is to, by this time around, to start commissioning studies as to, what are the needs of people. If we do, what are the real agitation, the real things people want. Right. Okay, so what do we do? They will commission, polls, they commission research, and all that. Those are the things that are supposed to do, because at the end of it, it's still going to help them. But coming out while you are still 2 years into a term, coming out to now, publicly be demanding or be asking people. In fact, in some cases, threatening people, to vote for you or to, get ready to, face a sanction. So that is very, very wrong. And we should all stand up and stamp our feet to talk against that, because at the end of the day, it is, it's a major issue, a major problem for real governance that they were voted into.
Part two of that question, if we do not nip this in the bud, is it able to gradually become part of our political culture? Because we have a way of doing things in Nigeria. When you do the wrong things for so long and nobody is saying anything, then it becomes a norm. So how much of a worry should this be, that INEC and other people are acting like, okay, our hands are tied, and then it's okay, we can continue?
Okay, so thank you very much. It will not only become the norm, it will become a problem that can even affect, the old democracy that we are practicing, we are in. I will quickly use the opportunity. INEC has said that though there is a law against it, but that law didn't stipulate. So what we will say public now on this TV, national TV, is to call on the National Assembly to look at that area that INEC has pinpointed and put appropriate sanction for whoever violates that law. They may say they are politicians too. I'm talking of the lawmakers now. They may say they are politicians too. The thing may likely affect them also. But they should think
for the sake of Nigeria.
For the sake of Nigeria, for the sake of democracy, they should know that whether we like it or not, there is going to be a time that they will not be there any longer. It's just two terms of 4 years that they will have at a certain time. So they should do things for the sake of posterity. If they do it the right way, one day they will sit down in their retirement and say, thank God that we are able to put this in ground. So we call on the National Assembly to ensure that appropriate sanction, they look again, review that section of the Constitution, and look at it. If it's deserving of appropriate punishment attached to it, they should do that and do that on time. Because fact remains that by the time we get into next year, 2026, they will not definitely have the time to look at this.
Okay. This action of the political class abandoning good governance for campaign is at the detriment of the people who gave them their votes in 2023. So for the people themselves who have the power to decide whether you become the president or the governor, what are the lessons for them with the action of these politicians that we are seeing presently?
Okay. Truth remains that the people see politicians as people they have elected to act on their behalf. Of course, the fathers of democracy, put that system of government because they know that everybody cannot do it the same time. So some people will elect a few of them to represent them and do things that they are supposed to do. So people should see politicians as people that are representing them. They should see politicians not as demigods. Of course, politicians would like to, exert that power and make themselves look like demigods, but they should see politicians as people that are representing them. They should know and act as well that, they have the power that those politicians are looking for. Although politicians usually see people as number,
but without those numbers, you cannot become anything. And the people have the power.
Yeah, yes.
So, but are they making good use of that power to checkmate these politicians?
They are not making use of that power, and that's where I'm driving at. Politicians see people as number. So when you talk of people living, for example, living in Agege, for instance, or Ikeja, for instance, why we are talking of people living in Ikeja, to people that are not politicians who start thinking of market women and all that. But politicians, immediately you mention Ikeja, they will say so number, hundred of thousand of votes. That is what comes to the mind of politicians that know their onions will tell you in numbers. If you talk of Agege, they will tell you the number in Agege. They will tell you. So they see people that they can, they have to work very hard, whether through means of crook or that way to get. But the people now should see themselves as valuable assets that can checkmate excesses of politics. So part of that is to, there's nothing wrong when politicians come to you at the time that they are not supposed to campaign and start campaigning. Tell them that it means that you don't follow the law, because if you are following the law stipulates that this is not the right time to do that. So once you are able to confront them with that fact and you stamp your feet, you stand your ground, that these are people that are serious. Anytime they are promising you to deliver anything, they will definitely take that section of the society that asks genuine question and reasonable questions, especially. Another thing I need to quickly add to this is that people should start seeing themselves again as being so powerful to the land that they can recall and punish whoever that is not delivering on the mandate that they have given to them the next election. So if they have come to meet you and say that during this amount and say that you should vote for them, you should see it clearly that they don't reckon you, they don't respect you. All they want to do is to just come and you canvass, vote, and go. Ask them questions about what you said you want to do. You have not done it. We are just 2 years into it. So as much as the lawmakers at the National Assembly are enjoined to act on the law, about campaign, people too should demand that the right thing is supposed to do. They should even, echo this that we are saying to their representatives at the National Assembly to ensure that that right thing should be done. That certain law, that certain legislation should be reviewed with appropriate punishment attaching to it.
Right. So you mentioned earlier that it's not peculiar to Nigeria alone, but then let's also see what can Nigeria as a democracy learn from other democracies in terms of good governance, even though you might have an ambition to still want to recontest in office. But what strategies can we learn at ensuring that good governance does not suffer in the face of politicking?
Okay, number one, there should be very strong institutions. In elsewhere where things are working, if you look at it very well, what they are enjoying, number one, is very strong institution. That's number one. Number two, there should be, well aware or, a section of electorate that are very, very aware of the power that they wield, of the power that they have. He has a question about what people should do. Elsewhere, if you do not do what they're supposed to do, the next election, they vote you out. Right. It's as simple as that. So once the politicians know that, people, the electorate are well aware of the power that they have, they will sit there. So number one is strong institution. If you are derailing, the institution will put you back to shape and back to track. So that's one. Then number two, the electorate. Then number three, there is no way, we will not talk about the religious leaders. Of course, Nigeria is so blessed, with, people that are calling people to God. So religious leaders are not, should start seeing themselves as people that are supposed to say what God, wants these politicians to do and say, to hear. So, but religious leaders should, though some of them may say that, okay, religion is different from politics, but once people are elected already and they have promised that they will do this, religious leaders have roles to play. Elsewhere, religion is playing that active role in ensuring that, people are called, back anytime they're derailing. Of course, every Sunday, there is no politician in Nigeria that is of Christian faith that won't go to church. Every Friday, there won't be a politician of the. So that is,
the messages should prick
the
their
message.
hearts.
So when we have a very good institution, we learn it from elsewhere. We have electorates that are aware of the power that they have. Religious leaders should please help, ensuring that they use the pulpit to deliver that message. Politicians that are already campaigning for votes now, if they are in church on Sunday or they are in mosque on Friday, leaders should tell them that, it's only God that can say what will happen by 2027. So that
Make use of now.
Make use of now. So then the third one, the traditional, institution. Traditional institution is in Nigeria, of course, before even the 1914 amalgamation, before the 1960, Nigeria has been, existing, though not as Nigeria in piecemeal, with,
Community leaders, traditional rulers.
Traditional rulers. So traditional rulers should continue to see, because fact remains that, elective positions are just for 4 years, maximum 8 years. But these, traditional rulers are there. And if there's any development anywhere, there's no way a town will not be attached to it. So traditional rulers too, it shouldn't be about giving chieftaincy title to our politicians alone. They should use that throne as well to ensure that. So if all those things, are in place, there are lessons we can learn from elsewhere that will make things work very well here.
Okay. But Diola, realistically now, looking at our society today, how many of these traditional rulers can actually look at the power or the man in power and speak the truth to them? They also play some kind of politics. That's on one side. So what should also be the role of community development associations as well in ensuring that we promote good governance? Something happened during the last local government election in Lagos State, Alimosho local government to be precise. The former chairman wanted to commission a PHC, and the people refused to allow him to commission it because the road to that PHC was horrible, and they chased him away. So what are the lessons therein for CDAs and CDCs to also promote good governance here?
Okay, thank you very much. And it's very, very key because if you look at it very well now, you will see, that CDA, CDC are now making that inroad. In fact, they are government on their own, quote and unquote, because of the fact that I'm a member of a CDA, and I know that the transformer in our area was, bought by that CDA. So rehabilitation of our road in our area was by the CDA. So a lot of things in our area, has been, they are being put in place by the CDA.
Is there no government there?
No, there is a government, but fact remains, you will understand that, it will be very, very difficult because I play, actively in the electricity sector as well. You will want to start mentioning areas where, transformers are being put in place by the government. You understand? Particularly areas that are new areas. You will be on queue. You understand? So the point I'm just raising by that is that the CDA and CDC should not be tasking, members to be contributing alone. They should know that that responsibility is the responsibility of certain people that are being, elected in certain offices. You understand? So, and it's to back what I've just said, that their roles should transcend, should go beyond ensuring that we contribute money to buy transformers. We contribute money to, fix our roads. They should, the role should include, putting those that are elected to do those things in check. Voicing their anger, voicing their, doing it in a very civil way. And another thing is that because of the fact that I raised it earlier, electorates are not so aware of the power they have. That is why politicians, anytime you imagine a politician will want to campaign, maybe a councillor will want to campaign and be telling people that will give you electricity. Something the president cannot even promise that he'll give anybody. Will that person go and meet Disco and tell them that they should, you understand? This co, as far as everybody is aware now, it's a private entity, though government has certain shareholding there. So a council will not tell you, I'm going to give you electricity, and people will say, hey. So there is that need for orientation and reorientation of the electorate. I think with the traditional rulers, the religious leaders, whatsoever that I've mentioned earlier, the power still resides with the people. Immediately we have an awakened electorate, you see that everybody will fall in line and everybody will understand. Because, no politician can, even though they can, distribute, what do we call it, transformers for people, but you have to still go and meet discos and pay them and sign a letter that that thing belongs to the discos before they can. That is it. You have to sign that the transformer belongs to, even if you are buying it. Your CDA just bought the transformer before they can fix it. You have to sign that property belongs to them. You understand? That is an entirely different kettle of fish. But fact remains that the electorate needs to be aware there's need for that orientation. Politicians may keep them because they enjoy it the more. But so I will now use that opportunity to call on the NGOs. A lot of them get funding, support, and all that from elsewhere, they should ensure that there's proper orientation, reorientation of the electorate. Once we have electorates that are aware of the power they have, I think politicians will start respecting them and be doing what they're supposed to do.
Right. Let's also quickly look at the early campaign issues. Some will say that it's a mixed bag, and some will say that does it really reflect an act of desperation on the part of the politicians, or does it mean that the politicians just lack leadership capabilities to want to either come back to office or campaign for their cronies? And so if you look at issues around early campaign, would you tag it as it's like we'll say here, do or die affair, or it's just a lack of leadership confidence that, well, let me just continue doing what I'm doing. If I am good enough, then the people will return me?
Well, I think I will align more with the number two. Even though I can't say that, because of course, if you do proper, analysis of politicians, you cannot put all of them in a box. Right. Some would do it for the number one reason. Some would do it for the number two reason. But I think that number two reason is a major reason. If politicians, too, need orientation and reorientation. Right. If you want to put everybody, if it's possible, put everybody in one hall and start asking them the section of the Nigerian Constitution that prohibits early campaign, not all of them would know it. In fact, some may even feign ignorance that they are not even aware that they cannot do that. You understand? So, fact remains that, there is lack of confidence too. Because if you are so confident, you will want to say that, okay, let me just face governance first. Because fact remains that if you are doing the right thing, if you execute governance the way so you are supposed to, you are campaigning too. Like, because if you fix a road, people that are applying that road will vote for you. It's going to become very easy. So they should face governance and do the right thing. Areas where there is erosion, they should champion ensuring that drainages are properly channeled and all that. Where they are lacking primary health care facility, they should put in place. And where they are lacking roads, they should put in place. Where they know what they have promised people, they should use the next 2 years to focus on that. When the window of that opportunity is being opened by INEC, they can now key into that and start campaigning.
Right. Before we allow you to go, another thing would be some will also say that the early campaign issues also is not only a mistrust, but also an avenue for politicians to also spend state monies on these campaigns. And so part of the things we're talking about into good governance and what you should actually be using state resources for, is this also one of the reasons why you think that this has to be properly monitored? Because we expect that the resources should be used for the benefits of the people and not for personal campaigns.
Okay, thank you very much. There is nowhere or know how someone in office who want to now go and do that campaign now while the person is in office 2 years into that office, that the state resources won't be used or deployed. Of course, the car, they will go in official car. Of course, they are still living in official apartments. Of course, a lot of things that they are going to deploy, not to now talk of the cash that they want to use. So there is no way they want to do early campaign. I mean, not even early campaign. They want to do campaign when they are not supposed to even start the campaign, without digging hard into the covers, the government covers. So it is supposed to be seen, aside from the fact that, it's so immoral, it is unconstitutional, it's ungodly as well. So people should see it from that light, that, this is serious cheating on people. You will want to go on early campaign and take the official card there. The person that is supposed to stand against you doesn't have anything, like that to compete. So it is wrong, it's ungodly, it's illegal, it's immoral, and everyone should start talking or speaking against it.
Okay. All right, we'll have to leave this conversation here this morning. Thank you so much, Diola Yusuf, for finding time to be with us on the program today. We appreciate your thoughts.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And of course, we've been speaking with Diola Yusuf, who's weighed in his thoughts on the 2027 elections, early campaigns, and good governance It means, again, many times over, our guests have said we need stronger institutions. Once we have stronger institutions in Nigeria, it means that other things will follow under that, and then we'll begin to have things work out, because the institutions will definitely put you right back on track whenever you derail. That's much we'll take on this side of the table this morning. We'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns, it will be time for Joy to take you through her Lagos conversation.